Good morning Year 6 and welcome to Thursday's maths lesson. I hope you've got your pen and pencil and your piece of paper ready to get started, but you're also going to need your dancing shoes this morning. So make sure you've got enough space wherever you are to do some dancing, because that's going to be part of your active maths in today's lesson. Are you ready to get started? Off we go then. Before we get started on the starter test, I'm just going to give out some My Maths shout-outs for Alexi, Samson, Lewis O, Isabel and Abby for completing all of the tasks set to them on My Maths this week. So well done, I have awarded you 2 dojo points each for aspiration. Keep up the good work. Make sure you've got enough space around you because you're going to be doing some dancing. We're just going to take a look at this BBC Bite-Size Super Movers video to practice some mental methods for addition and subtraction.
Away lads and lasses, fluff up your feathers, time to do the funky pigeon dance. Addition, subtraction, time for mental calculation, where you gotta work it out in your head, no time for hesitation. Addition, subtraction, there's more than one way to do it, where you gotta work it out in your head, you'll find there's nothing to it. Try counting on or counting back, it's a great little trick once you've got the knack. Imagine 30 plus 210. Start with the largest number and then count on in tens. Come on, do it with me. 220, 230, 240. If you want to double check, then you can't count back. Now that's what I call a mathematical hack. Addition, subtraction, time for mental calculation, where you gotta work it out in your head, no time for hesitation. Addition, subtraction, there's more than one way to do it, where you gotta work it out in your head, you'll find there's nothing to it. Use your knowledge of number facts and you'll have 43 plus 17 cracked. You'll know 17 plus 3 makes 20. See, that's 40 plus 20, boom, 60. What about 70 plus 75? At first glance, woof, man alive. But if you know double 70 is 140, then add the 5, 145, sorted. Addition, subtraction, time for mental calculation, where you gotta work it out in your head, no time for hesitation. Addition, subtraction, there's more than one way to do it, where you gotta work it out in your head, you'll find there's nothing to it. Partitioning is a good form of attack. Split the numbers to make it easier to subtract. Try 71, take 34. Here's what you do. First of all, take the 30 from the 71. You know that, it leaves 41. Now subtract the remaining 4. 37 is the answer that you're looking for. Addition, subtraction, time for mental calculation, where you gotta work it out in your head, no time for hesitation. Addition, subtraction, there's more than one way to do it, where you gotta work it out in your head, you'll find there's nothing to it. You'll find there's nothing to it. You'll find there's nothing to it. Right, I'm off to poop on some people's heads.
So before you get started on these questions then, I'll give you a minute to catch your breath after dancing so much. I just put a little recap of the strategies, or some of the strategies mentioned in the video for mental methods for addition and subtraction. So the funky pigeon mentioned counting on and back in tens, partitioning, so you can partition your number into tens, ones and hundreds. You could use your number bonds to calculate quickly and effectively in your mind. And rounding and adjusting. We've talked about this a lot. If you're adding or subtracting 9, it's a good idea to round and then adjust. So I will leave those there to help you. Pause the video now, have a go at these questions, and then we will go through the answers together. Welcome back, Year 6. Are you ready to go through the answers? Okay, let's take a look. So question 1, we were adding 40, so you could use that strategy of counting on and back in tens. So the answer was 516. Question 2, we were subtracting 9, so that would have been a great question to practice your round and adjust method, and the answer was 3,221. Question 3, we had 57,432 add 218. Now I can see in both of my ones columns there that there's a 2 and 8. What do I know about 2 and 8? Yes, they're one of our number bonds to 10, so that was another strategy there that you could look for. And the answer was 57,650. And then question 4, 876 plus 12. This was a question where you could have used the partitioning strategy. So you could have added 10 and then added 2, and that gives you an answer of 888. How did you get on with those questions? It's always good to have lots of practice of these mental methods. So moving on to today's focus, we are staying with fractions, and the objective is to find the whole. So yesterday we were finding out a fraction of an amount, so we were trying to work out part of the whole. Now it's the opposite way around. You're going to know part of the fraction, part of the whole, but you're going to have to work out what the whole is. So key vocabulary is fraction, whole, bar model. Just a quick note on the word whole, it is a homophone, so it's got two different spellings, but the word sounds exactly the same. We're talking about this whole, as in an entire amount of something, not this kind of whole, like, a hole you get in your sock. So here is just a starter example question to get us thinking about this idea of finding the whole. Now, these bar models should be really familiar to you if you've watched yesterday's lesson. If you haven't watched yesterday's lesson, I would suggest going back and doing that one first before moving on to this one. So you can see here we've got 3 different bar models, and each of them have different numbers of parts, don't they? But we know the value of at least one of the parts in all of these bar models. Now, can you use the values that you know to work out the value of the whole in each of those bar models? Pause the video, have a think, and then we'll go through the answers. Welcome back, Year 6. Let's take a look then. So from what we know about fractions and bar models like this, is that we need to make sure that we divide it into equal parts. So that means that if one part of the bar model is 6, that the value of every other part of the bar model will also be 6. So you can see here that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts all together. So we need to multiply 6 by 8, and that gives you a whole amount of 48. So same here with B, each part is 11, and we multiply that by 7 because there are 7 parts in the whole, which gives us 77. Again, same for C, there are 3 parts to the bar model, each has a value of 9, so 9 multiplied by 3 equals 27. So now it's my turn to show you how I would go about answering one of these questions where we know what the part is. So we know that 2/5 is equal to 100, but what we don't know is the value of the whole. So the first thing I'm going to do is to draw a bar model. I've got 5 parts to my bar model because 5 is my denominator. Now this is my whole. We don't know what that is, but I do know that 2/5 is equivalent to 100. So why don't you have a little think? What do you think I could do to solve this problem? Right, welcome back. So if we know the value of 2 parts, and we know that equals 100, I could divide that by 2 to work out the value of 1 part, couldn't I? So 100 divided by 2 equals 50, which means that 1/5 is equivalent to 50. Now, what did we just talk about with these bar models? If you know what one part, or if you know what the value of one part of your bar model is, what can you do to work out the value of the whole? Well done, so we can multiply 50 by 5, which gives us an answer of 250. So 2/5 of 250 equals 100. Okay, now it's our turn, so we're going to try and do this one together. Mo spent 5/8 of his money on a new bike. He spent £75. How much money did Mo have to begin with? So, what can you draw to help you with this question? Yes, so you could draw a bar model. Okay, check that your bar model has 8 parts, and ideally they need to be the same size. Okay, because they are equal parts. What could you do next then? Right, so let's take a look at what we know already in the question. So he spent 5/8. So if we clearly label that 5/8, then we'll know what we need to work out. So he has spent £75 altogether. Label that then. Now we've got to figure out what this is worth, what the value of this part of the bar model is. But how do we do that? Well, we could divide 75 by 5, so we know what the value of each of these squares is. That gives us an answer of 15. Okay, so now we know, based on what we've learned so far as well, that if we know the value of one of the parts of the bar model, then we know the value of every other part. So each little square is worth 15. What do we need to do next? So 15 multiplied by 8, and that gives us an answer of 120. So the whole is equivalent to 120, but of course he's spending money, so we need to make sure you've got the right unit labelled there too. So you can have a go at this last hour turn practice before starting on your chilies. Now I've jotted some steps to success at the bottom of the slide. You need to create a bar model and then divide the part you know by the numerator to work out what one part is, and then multiply that one part by the denominator. Now in yesterday's lesson we used a website called MathSpot to create bar models. If you'd like to go have a go on that website and create your own bar models, then that might be a good idea. Alternatively, you could just draw them on your piece of paper. So pause the video, have a go at working these questions out, and then come back for the answers. Welcome back, Year 6. So let's just check. So 3/12 of 1,440 is 360. 4/6 of 240 is 160. 6/8 of 480 is 360. And 7/10 of 120 is 84. Okay, so here are your chili challenges. Here is chili 1. That's question 1. I'll just scroll down for questions 2 and questions 3. Here is chili 2. We need to calculate the missing holes. Here's chili 2 part 2. Here's chili 3. And chili 3 part 2. Okay, good luck. Here are the answers. answers to chili 1, answers to chili 2, and the answers to chili 3.